All right, this is logically answered. I watch a couple of the videos. I guess YouTube has begun pay to win, so we are definitely going to see what Mr. Logically Answered is talking about.
YouTube has become.
To be fair, almost everything is pay to win, so it wouldn't surprise me. I haven't seen anything about YouTube about paying money for better views, but I know TikTok has it.
Paid to win. Gone are the days that random Joes could pick up cameras and record themselves playing games or discussing a topic. Nowadays, everyone from MKBHD and Mr. Who's the Boss to Eric and Mr. Beast spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, on each and every video. They also all have millions of dollars worth of equipment, dedicated studios, and dozens of employees. At this point, they're pretty much just full-on production studios, and that's on the personality side of YouTube itself. Then you have the whole company side as well, with the channels like Brightside, the Infographic Show, T-Series, and Cocomelon Nursery Rhymes. There are a few outliers who have stuck to a reasonable level of production like Sniper Wolf and Penguin, but these are very much the exception, not the rule. Also, most of these guys were OGs to YouTube.
I was just about to say that. Like, I feel like if you started in the early days of YouTube, then it's a lot easier, because you have that following and you've been around the game the longest,
Trying to replicate their formula today from scratch probably wouldn't work all that well. This is quite a shame, as raw
How tall is that guy? What the heck?
probably wouldn't work all that
Dude,
well.
that dude looks tiny compared to him.
This is quite a shame, as raw authenticity is what made YouTube different from traditional media platforms in the first place. People liked that they could see their favorite creators without censorship, without filters, and without advertiser influence. People liked the genuine and vulnerable nature of YouTube, but modern creators shy away from these characteristics as much as possible. These attributes simply lead to drama.
I mean, I do it myself. Like, this is not how I act when I'm chilling by myself. This is my customer service persona that I portray when I'm doing React content. Obviously, when I'm playing Overwatch, you see me get heated a little more often. You see me lose my temper a little more often. I don't speak as eloquently when I'm playing games. So I could definitely see that. And we are showing you what we want to show you. So everyone wants to act like a good person.
Controversy, and potentially getting cancelled. So the best solution is to just stay as vanilla as possible. Never have an opinion, never push the boundaries, and never ever piss off the people on Twitter. Larger
If you care about what people on Twitter think, you have already lost. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, do what you want to do. Obviously, you can't break YouTube TOS. Don't go on just racist, xenophobic rants, know what I'm saying? But do what you want to do, man. Who cares if you piss people off? If you piss people off, you're doing the right thing, in my opinion.
creators are simply leaning into these attributes, as it allows them to outsource more work, create a better distinction between their personal lives and their online personas, and it gives them a larger moat against aspiring up-and-coming creators. So a pretty smart strategy from their end, but this is arguably destroying the essence of YouTube. So here's how YouTube became paid to win and the upsetting future of the platform. Taking a look back, the roots of this evolution can be traced back to the mid-2010s to creators. By this point, most niches had already become saturated with tons of creators. People were starting to understand that YouTube could not only be a viable career, but a lucrative one that came with popularity, fame, and influence. So it's no wonder why people were jumping at every opportunity they saw, but this brought along with it quite a few challenges. Larger creators often struggled to keep up with the quantity of content from smaller creators. It was also super difficult to think of original ideas, as every topic you could think of had already been covered from every aspect you can think of.
For real, that's one thing I struggle with is just trying to be original, Like, nothing I do is original, and I want to find something that is original without making a fool out of myself, because that's just not my style. I don't make a fool out of myself for attention, unlike Mizzy. Know what I'm
The
saying?
saying, "there are no original ideas," was truer than ever. But despite this, creators attempted to keep up with the YouTube machine, leading to burnout and high levels of stress and depression. A few notable creators, however, were able to find an escape from this vicious hamster wheel. These guys accepted that they would never be able to keep up with the fire hose of content that was being put up on YouTube. If they were a tech YouTuber, there were simply too many smartphones, laptops, and gadgets coming out to cover them all. If they were a vlogger, it was simply impossible to make their lives interesting every single day of the year. This was simply not sustainable, so these creators decided to take another path. Instead of trying to cover every single topic, they decided to simply cover one topic better than anyone. The idea is that people would tune in not because the ideas or concepts were unique, but because the delivery was exceptional. A perfect example of this is Marcus Brownlee. Somewhere along the line, Marcus decided to drop $250,000 on a robotic camera. Let me
Golly.
just say, there is no way to quantifiably justify this investment. You can't be like, oh, this camera is going to increase my viewership by 6.2%, so in 42 months the ROI will be net positive. It simply does not work, because it's unlikely that this camera led to any sort of noticeable increase in viewership, at least not in the short term, but that's okay.
I feel like if you have $250,000 just to drop like that, then you're not too worried about the short term, you know. But yeah, he did take a risk, and even though I've never heard of him, I've definitely seen that guy's face around. So I guess it paid off, you know.
This camera was not purchased to boost viewership.
Oh,
This camera was purchased to build a brand, a perception. Whenever you see a crazy camera shot on tech YouTube, you know it's Marcus. And this association gets him one step closer to being the undisputed king of tech YouTubers. So the next time an iPhone drops, it doesn't matter if 100 people post reviews about it before Marcus. You can bet that millions of people are waiting to see Marcus's take, specifically because he provides an experience that they can't get anywhere else on YouTube.
which makes sense.
Marcus is by no means the only one leveraging this strategy either.
So, ladies and gentlemen, young content creators, people with low subscriber counts, like myself, do something that you can't get anywhere else on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, any of that shit, you know? But that's also the hard part, because it's really hard to be original nowadays.
This strategy has become very prevalent with Mr. Beast's channel as well. Take a few of his recent videos for example, $1 versus $500,000 plane ticket, and $1 versus $1 million hotel room. These are by no means groundbreaking video ideas. BuzzFeed
That's
made
cruel.
Identical videos 6 years ago. In fact, they had a full-on series called Worth It comparing cheap options to expensive options. Yet, Mr. Beast's plane video got 150 million views and his hotel video got 217 million views. Why? Simple, his scale and production. Those are just two examples, but I could name dozens. Mr. Who's the Boss, Airrack, Magnates Media, Good Mythical Morning, Mark Rober, Stuff Made Here, Film Theory, Jin Hao Tan, Wong Fu Productions, and basically every other large channel you can think of. While their initial success may have been fueled by down-to-earth mortal videos, it's their production quality that's kept them at the top. It's not just the creators who have evolved either. Audiences have also very much evolved. Back in 2007 and 2008, let me just be real here, the people who watched YouTube were a bunch of antisocial nerds and gamers.
Who? It's still like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I definitely use YouTube for like tutorials and all that stuff, but a lot of the stuff I watch on YouTube or at work is just because like I'm trying to escape reality, you know?
But nowadays, everyone watches YouTube, and with that it comes along a vastly different set of expectations. Most people are used to TV, Netflix, and movies, and to them, that level of production is normal. So naturally, these people flock to channels.
I don't know about that. I feel like when I come to YouTube, I'm just I'm not expecting insanely high levels of production, but I am expecting to see decent production. Know what I'm saying? Like, I remember watching a basketball video. A YouTuber was making a basketball video, and I'm like, this isn't made very well. His voice levels were just off and didn't speak very well, so I was like, I'm not gonna watch this. Somebody might watch my videos and they're gonna be like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He can barely speak at all, you know? So everyone has their own little expectations. I feel like Nobody's going to YouTube for TV level expectations. Maybe super young kids, but not me or anybody I know, you know?
that are able to live up to these standards. Also, let me say, this is not a trend that's unique to YouTube. In general, people flock to high production value content. Take Avatar 2 for example. The storyline was at best mundane, but this has proved to be completely irrelevant, as Avatar 2 ended up as the third highest grossing film of all time.
I've never
The same
seen
thing could be said about
Avatar
the
or
original
Avatar 2.
as well. While the storyline was more substantial than Avatar 2, critics argued that it was just a ripoff of Dances with Wolves.
It was. I was like, these. I definitely remember my. I don't know who it was. One of my friends was saying, like, the blue people, they're just Native Americans. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I thought he was going to just go on a rant. He goes, you got to watch the movie. And obviously, I never did watch the movie. But that makes sense how it's just a ripoff of Dances with Wolves. I actually had to watch Dances with Wolves in history class in high school. I thought it was a decent movie.
This is very much true, and even James Cameron himself has admitted this. But that didn't stop Avatar 2 from becoming the highest grossing film of all time. Why, you ask? Well, the visuals are stunning, the world building is unbelievable, and you forget that it's even CGI. Now, this
I'll have to get Disney Plus and give that shit again. Well, actually, I've got websites I can give that a totally legal websites, totally legal websites, but I can definitely give that a
isn't
gander.
to say that Cameron or creators should come up with the crappy storylines and buff it up with visuals. Not a good strategy. Ideally, the story is good and the production is good. That would obviously lead to the best results, but the thing to note is that a good production can make up for a bad story. A good story, however, doesn't always make up for a bad production, at least with the general audience. Another great example of this is the Grand Theft Auto series. The GTA series has been around for 25 years at this point.
This GTA is as old as I am, and I have never played a GTA game in my life. I was actually gifted one by my friend Rado, but I have never played a GTA game in my life.
And while there are some differences between the games like the city that it's based in, it all boils down to the same thing. You're a bad guy doing bad things to make
This is who Mizzy thinks he is. This is who Mizzy wants to be when he grows up.
money and earn respect. Simple as that. But despite milking the same plot for so long, GTA 5 ended up becoming the highest grossing piece of media of all time.
Well, yeah, they released GTA 5 every 4 months, you know? Like, every time there's a game expo, here's a new version of GTA 5, you know? So,
Pulling in
Same with
$7.7
Skyrim.
billion. And we can only imagine how well GTA 6 will perform. The reasoning is simple. Rockstar Games is constantly creating an unmatchable experience with each and every iteration. So when audiences are constantly being fed this level of content by movies, TV shows, and games, it's only natural that they come to expect the same from YouTube. The creators that are able to keep up do exceptionally well. The others are left behind. Creators often like to blame the algorithm when it comes to a video not performing well, or
in my opinion, I feel like it's not the algorithm. It's what you got to make what hasn't been seen before. Like one of my highest videos is just a football on NCAA football 14 revamped. It's just a tutorial, and that's one of my highest videos because there's nothing else like that on YouTube. At the time of me making it, another one of my videos with the most likes is me playing TikTok by Joji with guitar tabs on it because there were no tabs in the song. So I was like, this is an easy song. I'll just make tabs for it. And that's one of my highest liked videos. So you got to make stuff that isn't on YouTube, which is very hard, obviously, because nearly everybody's got access to it nowadays. But I feel like it's not the algorithm. I mean, obviously the algorithm has part of it because the algorithm is going to favor my tutorial about football or my Joji tab video because there's nothing else like that. At the time, I haven't checked now, obviously, but at the time of me making those videos, there was nothing else like that, so that's why they were popular.
the channel being killed off. Audiences also like to complain that platforms are recommending thirst traps and low productivity content. But
Well, the thirst traps also make the money, unfortunately. Why do you think Amaranth and what's the other, Alinity? Like, those girls have been banned so many times, but they're not permabanned. Why? Because they make the money for Twitch, you know? So I know it sucks. Like I whenever I see a thirst trap on any of my social media, I just click I don't want to see this because I hate seeing that shit. Like I just feel like it's low effort, even though I am also the king of low effort. I agree to that extent, but at the same time, it's what brings in the big bucks, you know? Sex sells.
Truth is that both of these parties are just shifting the blame. The algorithms of social media platforms are nothing but audience psychology. So if a video isn't performing well or a channel is receiving less views, it's not because the algorithm doesn't like the content. It's because the audience doesn't like the content, at least not a broad audience.
Which is what I was saying.
The opposite is true as well. If a channel is performing really well, it's not because YouTube is biased or something. It's because that's what the audience wants to see. And based on who the biggest creators are today, it's clear that what the audience wants is fast-paced, high production value content, which brings us to our main question. Where does that leave small creators? Well, not in a good place. Also, when I say small creators, I don't mean people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers or even tens of thousands. I'm talking about people who are trying to get their first 1,000 or their first 5,000 subscribers. As Casey Neistat once said,
10,000 subs is the hardest thing to do on YouTube because at 0, nobody's tuning in, nobody cares.
and this is harder than ever today because top creators have simply set the bar for entry so high. Now, there's no point in blaming these creators. Now,
which makes sense. I feel like I don't know if I would ever get a bunch of people together and make a video like that. It's just not my style, and I don't fuck with a bunch of people like that to the point where I feel like, hey guys, we should make a video. Know what I'm saying? So I can see that. So maybe I'll always stay at 328 YouTube subscribers, and that's okay. You know, I'm satisfied. I've got 2 jobs. Well, one's like my main job, and the second job I just work like twice a month. So like I'm chilling. You know, obviously I'm not satisfied with the money that I'm bringing in right now, but wherever God takes me is wherever God takes me, you know?
only do they produce awesome content that's enjoyed
As long as my dog's got a roof over his head and he's full, then I'm chilling.
by hundreds of millions of people, but they're just doing what's best for their brands and their businesses. That's only reasonable. But with that being said, this trend has largely shifted the tide against new creators. In fact, 97% of YouTubers don't make it, which is not that different from Hollywood where only 2% of actors make it. Most small creators today are hoping for that one viral video that will explode their channel. But this is not that different from actors and musicians hoping for that one lucky break. The reality is that this break will never come for most people. Now, a lot of creators will have you believe that it's not luck and that it comes down to one's understanding of YouTube and the audience. Mr. Beast has even claimed that he could get to 1 million subscribers from 0 within 3 to 4 months.
How long would it take you to get to 1 million subscribers?
Probably 3 months, maybe 4. From 0, easily 3 or 4 months. Like, if that's all that guy was doing.
And they're right. Succeeding on YouTube is not necessarily luck, but the thing to note is that creators that are starting off also don't have the same skills or mindset. It's like those shows where millionaires try to start from 0 and become millionaires again. Admittedly, these are super interesting to watch, but to think that a homeless guy could do it just because a millionaire could is absurd.
Well, that's 2 ends of the spectrum that he's describing. Of course, a homeless guy is not going to get 1 million subscribers because he doesn't have the means of doing it. You know, I feel like you could have compared like a high school, a young content creator as opposed to a millionaire. But, you know, it also depends. Like, I know some people just see a millionaire and like, fuck this guy. Like, I know a lot of people that straight up just don't like millionaires. So I guess a lot of it just has to be luck, and the type of content you're creating is the type of content people you want to see. I feel like money shouldn't have anything to do with it. You could be a millionaire making Let's Plays and no one's going to watch that shit. They're going to be like, okay, this guy's got a bunch of money and all he does is play video games. Like, that's not interesting to me. Say he was a millionaire that was making trampolines for dogs. Something random or stupid like that. I'll be like, what the fuck? And I give that a watch, you know? So I think it definitely depends on the content you create. It doesn't matter how low production. Like, remember that Faded in the Hoe guy? I don't know whatever happened to him, but he blew up, and he had low effort production. It was just him walking around talking and vibing and smoking, you know? So I feel like, obviously he's an outlier, but You don't need this AAA production level team to make videos, in my opinion.
Similarly, thinking that an average Joe could get to 1 million subscribers in 3 months or even a year just because Mr. Beast could is also absurd. Of course, there will be exceptions, but that's what they are, exceptions. The harsh reality is that making it on YouTube is becoming harder and harder every day because the bar for entry is also becoming higher and higher. In the end, the state of YouTube today is not out of the ordinary by any means. That's how every other artistic industry has always been, whether that be games, movies, TVs, writing, or art itself. The reason that this is upsetting with YouTube though is because YouTube used to be the exception. They started off like Be Real, but expecting them to stay this way is simply unrealistic. Be Real is already dying, and if YouTube chose this...
I was just about to say, isn't Be Real dying? Like, I remember that was super popular, like, last summer, and I haven't heard shit about it. I actually had to ask my roommate, like, what the hell is Be Real? And he goes, oh, you just have to take a picture at a certain time because it's real. And I'm like, that's stupid. So I didn't fuck with that. Obviously, it was popular, and I guess the users caught on that this is not interesting at all, and they stopped using it. But it's a unique concept. It just didn't seem interesting to me. But then again, I'm not a big proponent of social media anyway, so.
This path, they too would probably be dead. The reason that YouTube is so successful today is because they evolved. They became more like traditional media, and the creators followed suit. With all that being said though, if you are able to make it to the other side, the opportunity on YouTube is insane. But getting to the other side is harder than ever, because YouTube has become pay to win. Do you prefer the old YouTube or the new YouTube? Comment that down below. Also, drop a like if you've been appreciating the high production quality on this channel. And of course, consider checking out our Discord community to suggest future video ideas.
Obviously, the old YouTube is going to be better. Like, you can find some wild stuff on the old YouTube. Probably where a lot of my problems stem from was just seeing stuff I shouldn't have been able to access from YouTube. We can read the comments. Never piss off the people on Twitter. He actually didn't really talk about that besides just saying that once. What to say to me is how far monetization has come on YouTube. There were many people who tried high production content in the early days of YouTube. For example, a video game high school, but it fell flat because the ROI just wasn't there. And then tried to push high production content to YouTube Red, it still wasn't there. But guys like Mr. Beast and Dude Perfect found ways to go insanely viral with their content that could sustainably do huge budget productions. Make a video on why TikTok makes nobody rich. That's an interesting video. I do hope he does that. I do think there are quite a few rich people off of TikTok, but I obviously I'm ignorant, but I would definitely like to see that. Howard, your subject matter presentation is always on point. I don't know how you put out such high quality content so quickly. My props. But yeah, YouTube. I feel like if I had a production company and this was all I did, then yeah, I could probably get more subscribers. But also, I feel like if YouTube, if you put your mind to something, you can do whatever you want. Know what I'm saying? Obviously, me with 328 subscribers, like I'm not a product of that statement, but here I am doing React videos and uploading content more often to try and fix that. So I feel like, yes, it is easier to make it big in YouTube because you'll have a lot of money. I mean, I feel like, unfortunately, the world is that way. Like, the more money you have, the more opportunity you have. And that's unfortunate, but it's not the be-all, end-all. Know what I'm saying? Like, you can still make it big. And eventually, you'll be able to make the high-production content. But as long as you can make stuff that people need, as long as there is a need for the videos that you make, you're going to rack in the views. And that's plain and simple. Like, you look up any tutorial video, like, that's not high-end production. It's just a guy talking, you know? And any type of, like, song cover, which I was talking about earlier, like, it's just not a high-end production. As long as people want what you are creating, you're going to make it big. That the only problem is trying to find something that's not already been done before. And my friends, I hope you're able to find it because I sure as fuck haven't.